Once upon a time, there was a merchant, a guy who's really made good, and he had some children, especially a gorgeous daughter. I don't know any father who doesn't think his daughter is gorgeous, so I'm sure at least half the audience is already with me. He has a gorgeous, gorgeous daughter, and she's coming to an age where suitors will come and ask her, what was the word he used? The word I believe he said was, "You are a ripe peach, ripe for plucking." And so he thought he would advise his daughter what to do. He said to his daughter, "My sweet, young men will come to you, and they will ask you out, and you will go with them to a park or a dinner or something, whatever it is these young people do these days. And when you are out walking with him, he will find by some ruse a need to go back to his apartment to pick something up, something important. And he will say, 'Oh, why don't you come up,' rather than waiting in the street. And you will go to his apartment with him, and he will say, 'Oh, come into my bedroom and see the artworks on the walls.' And you will go into his bedroom, and then he will say, 'You are the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. I love you forever.' And if you are not careful, he will launch himself on top of you, thus taking away your reputation and shaming you and your family forever." Because I'm sure that's how it goes, right? So the daughter says, "Thank you, Daddy. This is great advice. I'm so pleased that you gave it to me." He is at breakfast about 2 weeks later, and his daughter comes to him like, "Oh, you are a god. You are a magician. You are a futuristic voyeur." It was exactly as you said. He asked me out, and we went to the opera. And then we were walking. And he said that he had a book I must see, and it was at his apartment. So we went up the stairs, let me just be technically proficient. There you go. We went up the stairs, and he invited me in, and he gave me a drink, and then he asked me to go into his room, as you said, to see some artwork, which was beautiful, by the way. And he told me that I was the most beautiful thing in the world, even more beautiful than the art on the walls. And that I was indeed the object of all his affections, and he would love me forever. But Father, I remembered what you said. And I thought, I will be, as my father has told me, a smart and modern woman. So I launched myself on top of him, took his virtue, and thus ruined his reputation. Now, the point of the story is you can give great advice, but sometimes the advice you give is misinterpreted, but still beautifully. I mean, so modern, isn't it? "I have ruined that young man," she said. So we heard Tony's advice yesterday about that fidelity is not just a sexual thing, and how that changed her life. I did a bit of crowdsourcing during the break, and I have a few pieces of advice here, like you should warm your milk and your tea separately. Bake's the best thing. Someone once told me if you're at a conference and standing up for a long time, you need to change your shoes frequently because it means your feet don't hurt so much. My friend Rhonda gave me this one. In divorce, it doesn't matter who gets the assets, it's more about who gets the integrity. Oscar Wilde said, "Be yourself, everyone else is taken." So imagine you have had and been given and given to others excellent advice in your lifetime. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to ask you to write that advice down. You've been given 2 pieces of paper as you came in the door. And it was like a mystery, like, why 2 pieces of paper? Why is there nothing on them? You only got one. Oh, my heavens, we're going to have to improvise. All right, so here's how it's going to work. With the 1 piece of paper, let's tear it in half. Oh, my God, that's so smart. Tear your piece of paper in half. I'm going to ask you to write down your advice. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be change your socks, it'll make you feel better. It could be wear clean underwear. It could be something really big like be yourself or follow your heart. I don't know what your advice is, but this is a piece of advice that perhaps you were given that made your life different. Or a piece of advice that you give constantly and you see how it changes people. But write it down, please, on the 2 pieces, the same piece of advice. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do that, and then I'm going to tell you what to do next, okay? Write. Piece of advice. The same advice twice, yes. Thank you. It's so quiet. So when you've written your advice twice, can you just put your hand up so I can get a check of who's done it? All right, I'll give you maybe 30 more seconds for the slow writers. That was so efficient and effective. In one of my lives, I'm a productivity improvement consultant. I don't think we could improve that process at all. In another of my lives, I'm an improviser, and I'm really pleased that you said yes and to my ask. So here's what we're going to do. When you leave here, one of those pieces of paper, please hand to the people at the door who will take them. They'll be collated and we'll have a compendium of good advice. But now take the other one, the one that you're not giving away, and find somebody you haven't yet spoken to today around you in the area here and share the advice. Please feel free to tell them the story. Who gave you that advice? Why is it good advice? What effect did it have on your life? But share it. Go. You can stand up if you like. right. This is a good topic of conversation, yeah? If you find yourself in the foyer having a coffee or a wonderful piece of gourmet something and you don't know what to ask someone to break into a circle, this is a great question to ask. Even people telling you why they don't have any advice to give you is actually in itself an informative thing, yes? Anybody have some good advice they'd like to share? You know, for the extroverts who want to yell to 600 other people? Keep your neck warm. Is that what, did I hear that? Excellent, I love that. Keep it, it's true, I've been freezing out the back. Anybody else got anything? Think big, get shit done. Oh, that's like my motto for life. What else? Be the best you can be. Great advice, absolutely. Anybody else got one? Ask for permission, not for forgiveness. I love that. I do that all the time and then I go, I'm so sorry. What's that? Flip it around. Ask for forgiveness, not for permission. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. Mea culpa, mea culpa. I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person, I just did a bad thing, all right? Anybody else got one?
Yes, one down here you should hear.
One down here I should hear.
Just tell them to go fuck themselves.
Tell them to go fuck themselves. I think it's Bette Midler is famous for saying, just fuck them if they can't take a joke. I would never say that. Anybody else got one? Hang on, I'm going to try it with this one and then I'm going to that one. To pray and to worry is to not pray at all. Isn't that? Oh, I'm feeling really calm. And there was one here. 2 ears, 1 mouth. When you find yourself at lunch looking for someone to talk to, just walk up to them and say, hey, what's your advice? As you leave the room now, give your page to the person at the door. Please come talk to me. I've collected a heap of advice. I've got it in my pockets. And if you don't have anything to do, come talk to me because I got so much advice and so little wisdom. Have good lunch. See you after lunch.